I shook his hand the day we signed the papers. 38 years old, co-founder of a company I had spent 4 years building from a spare bedroom with bad lighting and no air conditioning. And I was standing across a conference table shaking the hand of the man I trusted most in the world. My business partner, my oldest friend, the best man at my wedding, the person who had held my daughter as a newborn and cried before I did. Nathan Cole. What I did not know on the day we signed those papers, what would take me 5 more years of working side by side with him every single day to discover, was that his other hand was already in my pocket. Welcome to Dad's silent revenge story. Some betrayals come from strangers. Those are painful, but survivable. The ones that truly break you, the ones that make you question your own judgment about what is real, come from people who know exactly where you keep your trust. If you have ever been robbed by someone you called family, stay with me. This story is for you. My name is Thomas Reed. I grew up in Pittsburgh, the second of 3 sons in a family where money was always present enough to avoid crisis, and scarce enough that you noticed when it ran short. My father managed a hardware store. My mother taught elementary school. We were comfortable in the way that requires constant effort to maintain, the kind of comfortable that teaches you early that nothing stays stable without work. I met Nathan Cole in the fall of my sophomore year of college. We were assigned as roommates by a housing algorithm that had no idea what it was doing. Nathan was from Connecticut, private school, the kind of background that gives a person ease in rooms I had to work to feel comfortable in. But he was not arrogant about it. That was what disarmed me. He wore his advantages lightly, as if he had never thought to use them as a weapon. We stayed up too many nights arguing about business ideas over cheap beer and instant noodles. We had a running joke that we were going to be millionaires by 30. Neither of us was, but the joke kept us close. After college, we went separate ways for a decade. I worked my way through supply chain logistics, starting as a coordinator and working up to operations manager for a mid-size distribution company. Nathan went into sales, first in commercial real estate, then in enterprise software. He was exceptional at it. Nathan had a way of making a person feel, within minutes of meeting him, that he was exactly the person they had been looking for. We stayed close through those years. He was at my wedding. When I married Claire, I was at his when he married Diane. When our daughter Ellie was born, Nathan arrived at the hospital with flowers before most of our family. When his son was born 2 years later, I stood in a hospital hallway and paced the same way he had paced for me. At 34, I had an idea I could not let go of. I had spent 10 years watching small and mid-size manufacturers struggle with supply chain management because the tools available to them were either too expensive, too complex, or both. Enterprise platforms designed for companies 10 times their size. Spreadsheets that collapsed under real-world complexity. Nothing in the middle. I knew exactly what the middle needed to look like because I had lived inside the problem for a decade. I called Nathan on a Wednesday evening. I laid it out as clearly as I could. The market, the gap, the product, the path. He said yes before I finished. We split ownership 50-50. I handled product development and operations, the things I knew from the inside. Nathan handled sales and client relationships, the things he was born to do. It felt clean. It felt like the division of labor that had always been implied between us. I built. He sold. The first 2 years were brutal in the way that building something real is always brutal. No salary. Our personal savings draining at a rate that made Claire's face tighten every time she opened the bank app. Claire was working extra shifts in healthcare administration to keep to us stable. Ellie was 2 years old and too young to understand why Daddy was always tired and always at the computer. Nathan's wife Diane had her own doubts, which Nathan and I agreed not to discuss because we needed to believe we were right about what we were doing. But it worked. Slowly, then faster. Then, all at once, the way growth happens when you have built something that actually solves a real problem. By year 4, we had 60 clients and a team of 11 people. By year 5, revenue had crossed $2 million annually, and we were fielding serious acquisition inquiries from 2 larger platforms in the industrial software space. That was when Claire noticed something. I want to tell you about Claire for a moment, because she is the reason this story exists. Claire is an accountant by training, though she had been working in healthcare administration for years by the time any of this happened. She is precise in the way that people who grew up having to make numbers work are precise. She does not accept vagueness. She does not let things slide. She asks the question that everyone else in the room is. Pretending is unnecessary. She had deliberately stayed out of the business from the beginning. Her reason was one she stated plainly. She did not want money to complicate our friendship with Nathan and Diane. One evening, she was helping me prepare our personal tax filing. She asked to see the company's profit distribution records for the year. Standard calculation. She needed the numbers to complete the filing. She looked at the records for a long time. Then she set them down very carefully on the table. The way you set something down when you need your hands to be steady. She looked at me and said, these numbers do not match what we actually received. I assumed it was a clerical error, a reconciliation issue, the kind of administrative gap that accumulates when 2 founders are focused on growth and not on accounting. It was not a clerical error. Claire spent the next 3 weeks going through every financial record I had access to. She did it quietly, methodically, without telling me much about what she was finding until she was certain. She came to bed late every half night that week, and I did not ask why, because some part of me already understood that what she was building was something I was not ready to see until it was complete. When she sat down with me on a Sunday afternoon and laid it out, I asked her to walk me through it twice before I said anything. Nathan had been running a parallel billing arrangement with 7 of our clients. Not all of them. 7. Selected, I would later understand, for being large enough to absorb the extra charges without flagging them individually, and for having accounts payable departments that processed invoices without detailed review. He was charging them for add-on services, consulting hours, implementation support, technical advisory time, services that existed only on invoices, services that had never been discussed with me, never delivered, and never recorded anywhere in our internal systems. The payments went to a separate account, a business account, in Nathan's name that I had no knowledge of and no visibility into. Over 5 years. The total was just under $400,000. I sat at our kitchen table and looked at Claire's spreadsheet for a very long time. Ellie was asleep upstairs. The house was quiet in the particular way that Sunday afternoons are. Quiet. A stillness that usually felt peaceful. That afternoon it felt like pressure. And I felt something I had not anticipated. Not rage. Not the clean, propulsive anger that would have been easier to carry. Grief. Because this was Nathan. This was the man I had known for 16 years, who had sat beside me at my wedding rehearsal, dinner, and given a toast that made my mother laugh and cry in the same sentence, who had held Ellie in the hospital at 2 hours old and looked at her like she was a miracle, who had sat across from me in that spare bedroom and said yes before I finished explaining the idea. And for 5 years, every time he shook my hand at the end of a board meeting, every time he sent me a message saying, "Great work today," every time he looked me in the eye and asked how Claire was doing, he had known. I told Claire I needed a week before we did anything. She looked at me steadily. She said, "Take what you need, but not longer than a week." She understood the difference between grief and delay. She always has. During that week, I did not call Nathan. I did not confront him. I did not send a message. I went to work every day and sat across the office from him and answered his questions, and reviewed his client reports and responded to his morning greetings with the same steadiness I had always had, because I needed to think clearly before I moved. And I needed to know exactly what I wanted before I sat across from him and said the words that would end whatever was left of 16 years. On the seventh day, I called a lawyer named Patricia Owens. Patricia had spent her career in business partnership disputes and had a reputation that preceded her, not for aggression, for precision, for knowing exactly which lever to press and how hard to press it. I laid everything out in front of her across a 2-hour meeting. Claire's spreadsheet, the billing records, the invoice copies, the account documentation. Patricia was quiet for a long moment after I finished. Then she asked me one question. What do you want out of this? I had thought about this carefully during the week. I thought about it at night when the house was asleep and I was lying, in the dark running through versions of the answer. I did not want Nathan prosecuted. Not because he did not deserve accountability, but because a criminal proceeding would become public and the company we had built together would not survive the story. Our clients would leave. Our team would fracture. What remained would not be worth rebuilding. I did not want years of litigation. I did not want to spend the next 3 years in depositions while the business drifted and the acquisition opportunities closed. What I wanted was simple and total. I wanted the company. All of it. His 50% transferred to me at a valuation that accounted for what he had already taken, meaning he would walk away with effectively nothing above the $400,000 he had stolen. And I wanted him gone from the company permanently, with no future claim to any revenue or relationship that had been built on my work. Patricia looked at me for a moment. Then she said, "That is achievable, and we can do it without going anywhere near a courtroom." She drafted a private settlement demand over the following week. It was precise, measured, and absolute. It gave Nathan 2 choices. Choice 1. He signs over his 50% ownership to me, at a price reflecting the company's actual value minus the fraudulent withdrawals. He executes a written admission of the fraudulent billing held by Patricia's firm to be used only if he violated the terms. He exits all company roles immediately. He agrees never to contact our clients directly for a period of 5 years. He says nothing publicly about the terms of his departure. Choice 2. We file a formal complaint with the relevant authorities. We pursue civil fraud charges. We notify every client and every prospective acquirer of the billing arrangement, and we allow the facts to go wherever they go. I delivered the document to Nathan in person. I drove to his house on a Saturday morning in October. The leaves were turning. His car was in the driveway. Diane answered the door. She smiled when she saw me, the warm and genuine smile of a person who had no idea what was about to happen in her own home. I asked to speak with Nathan alone. We sat in his home office. The door closed behind us. I placed the envelope on the desk between us without speaking. He looked at it for a moment before picking it up. I watched his face as he read. I had wondered, in the weeks leading up to that moment, what I would feel when I saw him understand what was happening. I had expected anger, or satisfaction, or some combination of both. What I felt was very close to nothing. A flatness where the grief had been. The quiet on the other side of having decided something completely. He set the document down. He looked at me, and he said the thing I had already predicted he would say. He said, "Tom, we're friends. You're going to throw away 16 years over a misunderstanding?" I looked at him for a moment. Then I said, "Nathan, I have Claire's spreadsheet. I have the account records. I have copies of every invoice and every payment. I have everything. You have 72 hours to decide which choice you want to make." He tried 3 more times before I stood to leave. Different angles, different framings. The suggestion that Claire had misread the records. The suggestion that there was context I was missing. The suggestion that we could find a way to make this right between ourselves without lawyers. I listened to all of it. Then I said goodbye and drove home. He signed 3 days later. The acquisition closed 8 months after Nathan left the company. $9.4 million. I owned the company, in full. Every dollar of that number was mine. The morning the deal closed, I sat in the parking lot of the acquirer's office building for about 15 minutes before going in. I did not call anyone. I did not play music. I just sat in the quiet of my car and thought about the spare bedroom where it had started, the bad lighting, the no air conditioning, Claire working extra shifts, Ellie at 2 years old, too young to understand, and Nathan saying yes before I finished, holding Ellie in the hospital, looking me in the eye across a board table every week for 5 years while the account accumulated. I thought about all of it without anger. That was the strange thing. By the time the deal closed, the anger had been gone for a long time. What remained was something more, like clarity. A clean understanding of what had happened and what it had cost and what it had built. I went in and signed the papers. That evening, Claire made dinner at home. Nothing special. Just the two of us and Ellie, who was 7 by then, and full of opinions about everything. After dinner, after Ellie was in bed, Claire and I sat at the kitchen table, with a glass of wine each, and did not say much. After a while she said, "Are you okay?" I thought about it honestly. "Yes," I said. "I think I actually am." She nodded. She reached across the table and put her hand on Mina. And we sat like that for a while in a kitchen that was ours, and a life that was ours, and a future that nobody could reach into and take. Here's what I want you to take from this. When you discover a betrayal of this kind, the first and most powerful instinct is to confront, to release the pressure immediately, to stand in front of the person and let them see what they have done to you. Resist that instinct. Not because the confrontation is wrong, but because confrontation without preparation is just pain looking for somewhere to land. And pain without direction rarely lands where you need it to. Take the week, or the month. Take however long you need to move from what you feel to what you want. Because what you feel in the moment of discovery is real, but it is not strategic. And you deserve the outcome of a strategy, not just the release of an emotion. Here's the other thing. The hardest part of what Nathan did was not the $400,000. The money was recoverable. The company was worth more than the theft. The outcome, in the end, was better than it would have been with Nathan still in it. The hardest part was the version of the world where Nathan was who I thought he was. That version did not survive the Sunday afternoon at the kitchen table, and nothing that followed brought it back. That is the real cost of this kind of betrayal. Not the money, the revision, the retroactive rewriting of 16 years of memories through a lens you did not choose. I will not tell you that gets easy. I will tell you that it becomes something you can carry without being crushed by it. And that the life you build after it, the one built on what you actually know to be true rather than what you wanted to believe, is more solid than anything you built before. Ellie asked me once, a few years later, why Uncle Nathan never came around anymore. She was old enough to notice, but young enough that the answer needed to be something she could hold without it being too heavy. I thought for a moment. Then I said, sometimes people we care about make choices that mean we cannot keep them close. And that is sad. But it does not change the good things. It just changes the story. She considered this seriously the way children consider things when they sense you are telling them something real. Then she said, like how the story changes when you turn the page. I looked at her. Yes, I said, exactly like that. We turned the page, and what was on the next one was ours. If this story meant something to you, leave a comment below. Tell me your story. And if you want to keep hearing about ordinary people making extraordinary choices under pressure, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.